From rappers boasting about violence to catching murder charges like the tragic death of a 10-year-old boy, or even digging their own rival's grave, it feels like things keep getting crazier every year. These kinds of actions have earned them the label Crashouts. In this video, we're diving into the wildest crashout cases of 2024, starting with one of the most shocking stories in drill history, YBC Dul. The tragic news about YBC Dul's death will forever be remembered in the Philly drill scene. Just hours before his death, he was recorded saying, "Anywhere I go, nobody don't play with me. I never got robbed. I never got touched or shot at in the city.
Anywhere I go, nobody don't play with me. I never got robbed. I never got touched, shot at in the city yet."
If there's ever a crash out Hall of Fame, Philly rapper YBC Dul would definitely be first ballot. Unfortunately for him, the most viral thing to come out of Philly since Meek Mill met a tragic end in his hometown. The timing was particularly striking because popular YouTuber Brandon Buckingham had dropped a full-length hood vlog featuring YBC Dul in his neighborhood less than 24 hours before the shooting. While some believe his ops used this video to track his location, there's no doubt that even without the video, Dul was essentially playing Russian roulette by being in Philadelphia at all. Dul might just be the most disrespectful rapper of this century. From casually name-dropping ops in his songs to literally digging up his opponent's grave in a viral video last February, YBC Dul had perhaps the biggest target on his back in Philly. His clique, spanning from 44th Street to 39th area in Mantua, West Philadelphia, was completely surrounded by a super group of opponents determined to destroy YBC. By taking out Dul, they eliminated the top opposition figure in the city, with most of his associates either dead or facing centuries in prison. Philadelphia is notorious for being one of America's most violent cities. In 2021, the city recorded its most dangerous year in its 341-year history, with over 550 homicides. The city had a higher murder rate than Chicago, despite having only half the population. The Young Bag Chasers, YBC, were known for contributing to this violence, with District Attorney Larry Krasner specifically naming them as some of the most real demons you can imagine. YBC started in the 42nd, 43rd, and Mantua area of West Philadelphia, initially focused on making money. Founded by rapper J100, the group began building a name through music and hustling. However, a 2019 incident changed everything. When Joshua Davids-Mon was gunned down on West Wyalusing Avenue, YBC transformed from money getters to full-out violence. They named their territory Josh World in his honor and began seeking revenge against their perceived enemies. The story involves multiple interconnected gang wars, with YBC facing off against groups from 39th Street, CCK, and others. The violence escalated through 2021, marked by numerous shootings, retaliations, and deaths. Notable incidents included the killing of Sid from 39th Street, which led to more groups joining forces against YBC. On August 23, 2024, at around 3:30 p.m, YBC Dul was shot multiple times in the chest and hand on the 5500 block of North 6th Street in Philadelphia. Though friends rushed him to Albert Einstein Medical Center, he was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. Reports indicate two gunmen ambushed him as he was getting into a white Lexus. Now, this likely marks the end of YBC's reign in Philadelphia's gang war, though the cycle of violence will likely continue. While these individuals were involved in terrible acts, their stories represent a larger tragedy of urban violence. They emerged from some of Philadelphia's most violent neighborhoods, and despite their destructive paths, managed to make names for themselves, though perhaps not in the way they'd hoped. The timing of Dul's death, just 24 hours after appearing in a YouTube documentary, highlights the dangerous intersection of social media, music, and street life in modern urban culture. It serves as a stark reminder of the risks faced by both the subjects and documentarians of street culture. Now, let me tell you about a really messed up situation that went down in Franklin, Virginia. Back in August 2023, a 10-year-old kid named Lamar J. Holden was just playing outside with some friends when everything went wrong. So here's what happened. 4 people rolled up to this house on Ash Street where some kids were playing. Someone inside started yelling at all the kids to get in the house. Smart move, because things were about to get ugly. Next thing you know, there's an argument, and one of these visitors pulls out a gun and starts shooting. Lamar, who was just a neighbor hanging out with these friends, ran inside with the other kids. He was probably just curious about what was going on outside and peeked through the blinds. That's when he got hit in the head. When someone opened the door, he just collapsed right there on the porch. One of his relatives had to carry his body back to their own house, where the paramedics found him later. Sadly, Lamar didn't make it. The shooter, turns out it was this 24-year-old rapper who goes by 23 Brazy, real name Tashonda Drayton. Get this, she was already out on bail when this happened. The cops hit her with a whole list of charges, including first-degree murder, and the US Marshals put out a reward for finding her, eventually bumping it up to $20,000. The crazy part? She'd actually put out music videos with lyrics about shooting at kids. After the shooting, her Instagram got taken down and her YouTube comments were disabled, but she kept the videos up. Guess she still wanted that fame? For 10 whole months, this woman was on the run. Everyone thought she might be anywhere from New York to Atlanta, but she was hiding just 20 miles from where it all went down. She was crashing at her cousin's place at Brookside Square Apartments. The marshals finally caught up with her in June 2024 when she just gave herself up after they knocked on the door. Now she's looking at life in prison. Virginia doesn't do the death penalty anymore, but honestly, what she did was beyond messed up. Yeah, Lamar wasn't even who she was aiming at, but when you shoot a gun, you're responsible for every bullet that comes out of it. The saddest part, all this happened because a 10-year-old kid was just trying to play outside with his friends. The case isn't over yet, and Lamar's family is still dealing with this nightmare. They'll have to go through it all again during the trial, but at least they know the person responsible is finally behind bars. Florida is another notorious place for rappers crashing out, and the one we all didn't expect to go unfortunately got taken earlier this summer. On June 23rd, 2024, around 4:40 a.m., Tampa police were called to a shooting outside a hotel. Sadly, one person lost their life, and it turned out to be none other than Foolio, a Florida rapper known for being at the center of Jacksonville's gang scene. Over the years, Foolio survived multiple attempts on his life, including being shot 4 separate times. His reputation as a controversial figure stemmed from his role in gang wars and his tendency to taunt his rivals. They tried and failed to take him out, but in a twist of fate, karma caught up with him on his 26th birthday. Foolio, born and raised in Jacksonville's Duval County, specifically in a neighborhood called 6 Block, didn't have an easy start in life. He described his childhood as lacking any real quality of life. By 9th grade, he had already dropped out of school and was eventually sent to an alternative school, unfortunately one in his rival's neighborhood. On his first day there, one of his rivals was shot and killed while waiting for the bus. Later that day, Julio made comments online that led people to believe he had something to do with the shooting, though he denied it.
So, I mean, a lot of people think, because we posted this shit like 3 times, keeping the fans updated, a lot of people think you shot yourself.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying if he's driving, how does he get shot in the foot?
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen?
Shit, the car got shot up. Shit, ain't no way. I ain't have my gun on me. Shit, ain't no way I could have shot myself. Shit, if you look at the car, that bit was hit up from the bottom to the top window to the front. All that shit was shot up, and I just luckily caught a foot shot. Shit, that's better than none.
So basically, the bullet went through the car and hit your foot.
Yeah, it went through like the bottom, like door type shit.
From then on, life became a dangerous game of survival. One day after school, Julio was walking home when a car pulled up and someone opened fire. He was hit in the leg, dislocating his hip. Crawling for safety, he made it to someone's porch, pleading for help. But the homeowner refused and told him to leave. The last thing he remembered was paramedics standing over him before waking up in the hospital. After that experience, Julio doubled down on life in the streets. He couldn't afford studio time to make music, so he focused on making money however he could. Around 2015, people started noticing his music. Songs like Coming Up got a few hundred plays online, giving him hope. Foolio wasn't just rapping about the streets, he was living it. He and his crew, KTA, short for Kill Them All, became a major presence in Jacksonville. Meanwhile, another rapper, Young and Ace, and his crew ATK were also rising in the city. Instead of collaborating, their crews became bitter rivals, splitting Jacksonville in half. Their beef, which started over what many called a misunderstanding, soon spiraled into violence, with lives lost on both sides. In 2017, Foolio's cousin Zion Brown was killed in his own home, allegedly by someone linked to ATK. Retaliation quickly followed, and not long after, Young and Ace, his brother and 2 friends were ambushed at a red light. Ace survived despite being hit 8 times, but his brother and friends didn't make it. This set off a cycle of violence that continued for years, with both crews trading insults in music and escalating tensions in real life. Foolio gained a reputation for being fearless in his music, frequently naming and mocking his rivals who had passed. Songs like When I See You and List of Dead Ops didn't hold back, which only added fuel to the fire. By 2021, the feud had caught nationwide attention thanks to Young and Ace's viral diss track, Who I Smoke, which remixed a lighthearted pop song with dark and direct lyrics aimed at Foolio and his crew. Foolio fired back with his own songs, and the beef became a spectacle, drawing in millions of views and listens. But behind the music, the violence never stopped. Friends, family members, and affiliates from both sides were targeted. Foolio himself narrowly survived several shootings, including one in Houston where he was hit in the neck. Despite this, he continued to taunt his rivals and share his survival stories online. Fast forward to his 26th birthday in 2024. Foolio spent the night celebrating with friends, sharing updates on social media, and posting his location in Tampa, Florida. After being kicked out of an Airbnb, the group moved to a hotel. Tragically, not long after, a shooting took place in the parking lot. 4 people were injured and Foolio was killed. For years, Foolio had defied the odds, surviving in a world where many don't make it. However, ultimately, Julio eventually met his maker. Then shockingly, just as the year was about to end, we heard the news about Durk. Let's break down the FBI's murder for hire case against Lil Durk and his crew. According to the feds, back in 2010, Durk Banks, better known as Lil Durk, aka Blood, aka Mustafa Abdul Malak, started a group called Only the Family, or OTF. On the surface, OTF was just a rap collective making and selling hip-hop music out of Chicago. But the FBI claims OTF was more than that. Allegedly, it was a violent gang with members committing assaults and murders under Durk's direction to keep their status in the group. Fast forward to 2020 and a rap beef pops off between King Von, one of Lil Durk's artists, and NBA Youngboy. At the time, Quando Rondo was signed to Youngboy, but Von and Quando didn't have any personal issues until they did. On November 6, 2020 in Atlanta, King Von spotted Quando Rondo outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge. Von walked right up to Quando and started swinging. In the chaos, Quando's friend, Lil Tim, pulled a gun and shot Von, killing him. Cops on the scene opened fire, hitting Lil Tim and others. Von's friend was killed, O'Block Louie was shot in the head, and Von's manager, 100K Track, was hit in the leg. Fans of King Von were devastated, but some of them took to social media with the hashtag #SlideForVon, basically telling Lil Durk he needed to get revenge. According to federal papers, a witness later told investigators that Durk allegedly put a bounty on Quando Rondo's head, using coded language to communicate this to his OTF crew, including some unnamed co-conspirators. Then, in August 2022, things escalated. The feds say that one of Durk's affiliates, known as Co-Conspirator 4, tipped off the group that Quando Rondo was staying at a hotel in Los Angeles. Right after that, several OTF members flew from Chicago to California. DeAndre, OTF Darsa, Wilson Houston, OTF Boogie, Keith Flocker Jones, David Brown Eyes Lindsay, and someone referred to as Co-Conspirator 2. They used one-way tickets, all bought with a credit card linked to Co-Conspirator 3. There's even a text allegedly from Durk himself, telling them not to book flights under names connected to him. When they landed, OTF Daza let someone know via Instagram, "On my way to LA." Meanwhile, Durk and OTF Vonnie flew private and stayed at a hotel in Universal City. Vonnie handled a lot of the logistics, renting a white BMW and picking up a white Infiniti with fake plates. He even bought 4 ski masks in cash at a sporting goods store. The next day, August 19th, 2022, Quando Rondo and his crew were cruising around LA in a black Escalade. The 2 OTF cars, the BMW and the Infiniti, followed them all day, tracking their stops at a dispensary, a clothing store, and more. Eventually, Quando's car pulled into a gas station near the Beverly Center. His cousin, Lil Pob, got out to pump gas. That's when things went down. The Infiniti parked in an alley while the BMW pulled up. 3 masked shooters, Flocker, Brown Eyes, and Co-Conspirator 2, jumped out and opened fire, shooting at least 18 rounds. Lil Pab was killed on the spot, but Quando, the target, wasn't hit. The shooters bailed back to the Infiniti and sped off. Not long after, the crew met up at an In-N-Out Burger to talk about what happened. The feds say payments to the shooters were discussed there. Durk didn't stop there though. He allegedly tried to profit off Lil Pab's murder by referencing it in his music, including lyrics that used audio from Quando screaming, "No, no," after Lil Pab was killed.
He's pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV.
Then, in October 2024, the FBI made its move. A grand jury charged Lil Durk and his crew, Vonnie, Darza, Boogie, Flocker, and Brown Eyes, with murder for hire and conspiracy. Durk was arrested trying to board a private jet to Italy. Now, if convicted, he and his crew are looking at serious time, life in prison, or even the death penalty. Usually stories like this would end here, but now it seems like there's a lot more that still needs to be discovered, because as of recently, Durk's name was brought up again for another murder for hire for his brother, D-Thank. Yep, you heard that correctly. The paperwork revealing this was just unsealed because Lil Durk was scheduled to do a detention hearing where he could have received a bond. So I guess in order to stop that, the government has decided to pretty much unseal this paperwork that says they are going to indict him on a new murder for hire charge. This news was broken by the Chicago Tribune. It says in newly unsealed court records, Lil Durk, who's already facing murder for hire charges in Los Angeles, has been linked to the fatal 2022 shooting of an alleged gang leader outside a community center on Chicago's far south side. The warrant application was filed in April of 2023, but was not unsealed until Wednesday, in advance of a scheduled Thursday detention hearing in Lil Durk's murder for hire case. The newly unsealed filing in the US District Court of Chicago alleges Banks was behind the January 27th, 2022 killing of Stefan Mack, who was 24 years old and was shot to death shortly after he exited the Youth Peace Center. At the time of his death, according to the FBI, Mack was the leader of the Smashville faction of the Gangster Disciples. So Stefan Mack apparently is the guy that people think killed Lil Durk's brother, D-Thang. D-Thang died a few years back, and we actually heard Lil Durk rapping on his song, Aha.
My brother D-Thang just got killed and I've been slow since.
Talking about how he got get back for D-Thang, saying, my brother D just got killed and I've been slow since. They like, Durk, his ass a singer, he won't smoke, shoot whatever you want, I got you. Now it seems that the truth is indeed stranger than fiction, because I have no idea why Lil Durk would be rapping that on a hit record and actually probably be behind the hit of the guy that killed his brother. It seems pretty reckless to me, but hey man, what do I know? If you're out here putting hits on people, I don't really expect you to be the type of person to try to keep it a secret either. These crash out stories show just how bad things can get when people act without thinking. This isn't about glorifying any of it. It's about showing the real consequences of living recklessly. Lives get lost, futures get ruined, and families are left picking up the pieces. Being a crash out isn't something to idolize, and it's definitely not something to look up to. If anything, it's a reminder for young guys, especially young black men, to think things through before making choices that can't be undone. There's so much more to life than the streets and the drama. There is always hope that one day we all can make better decisions. Anyways, that's it from me. If you stay to the end, you're a real one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video.